this is me. I was probably about 13 years old, and this was one of the first times my dad had brought me to camp. It was 500 acres of wilderness, water, fresh air, and freedom. It was where I first learned to pull off a donut, take my aim at some targets, and where I found my love for photography and video. This is my dad, an award-winning auto mechanic, a passionate and resourceful mastermind, and the guy with the cool beard. In my later years of life, I learned my dad bought me a four-wheeler and brought me up to camp to help me deal with my awkward teen years of anger and confusion and give us something we could both use to relate to each other. The first years of camp were nothing but nature and a few wheelers. Then came Norris, the first camper. We finally had some shelter to get out from the brutal winter winds, a place to escape the elements and reload the guns without our hands turning red from the chill of the cold winter air. A few more years went by and my dad found himself a gem. It was a 1967 Airstream for $250. What a deal! He parked it at his shop, gutted it, and crafted a new, one-of-a-kind Airstream. One that had a wood stove. I mean, come on, who else has a wood stove in their bathroom? A one-time trek from his shop to camp, and there she was, what we thought would be the final resting spot in the middle of the woods. She was a beaut. A silver spacious big tin can, as my dad would say, a wood stove to warm up in front of, a chair matching the original 60s decor, and a stereo to play some tunes and keep us company in the quiet of the forest. There were memories made, beers clanked and drank, guns shot as targets were smashed, fires built while the wood turned into coals. Camp evolved, the Airstream migrated a few hundred feet to get a better lay of the land. Structures were built, solar panels started to collect the sun's rays, and more laughs were had. As the seasons changed, the trees grew a few more rings around their trunks, and another wood stove made its way into the kitchen. I only make it up to camp about once or twice a year, compared to the almost every weekend I was up there as a kid. Then it happened. My dad landed a piece of property of his own just a few miles down the road. The once forever landing spot in the middle of 500 acres for the 67 now needed to move its axles one last time, once again. This time in the dead of winter. It was time for friends to show up, lend a hand, and let the big tin can adventure one last time to its official forever home.
I am not lost, I'm still just wandering.
One more load for tonight. Well, it's an end of an era. 20 plus years up here, and I'm pulling the old 1967 Airstream out down to Pulteney, some land I bought. We started here, me and Gunner, on a dirt bike and a four-wheeler. Ended up bringing up an old Norris camper, and that had a gas heater that wouldn't work when it was cold, so I got this for $250. Gutted it, put a wood stove in it, and we've been here ever since. It's going to be pretty brutal tearing this down. It's going to be pretty bad wind chills and blowing and maybe some snow and snowy hill going down. Hopefully we'll make it.
And just like that, it was deconstruction day. All hands on deck. Bitter cold, and everyone dove in and started hustling. There were boards to be removed, nails to be pried out, and stumps to be cut. At times, I wasn't even sure who was in charge.
Don's in charge.
Okay, what do we do? Lunchtime! Get a beer!
Well, I guess Don. That, or Glenn. Either way, it was beer o'clock. The siding covering up the Airstream made its way down, and progress was made. Time was ticking along, and my dad was anxiously attempting to line up the ball to the Airstream. With the old Ford attached to the rear bumper pulling, and the Toyota hitched up ready to push, axles slowly started moving. It was a stressful 30 minutes or so, but the old beast made it out of its home for the past 20 years. some dings made along the way, and we may have been locked out for a few tense moments, but we still had one last day in the Airstream until the big move.
It's moving day. Everything's loaded up. Airstream, truck, plow.
It was Saturday morning and time to give it a go.
Sunday.
Moving day.
Worn out.
I had my doubts, but my dad started trekking through the snow on that what seemed like an endless journey through the camp roads, just to hopefully find pavement again to reward ourselves with the first victory of the day. Scott and I boxed my dad in for a little extra protection as we rolled down Old Route 4 at a slow and steady 30 miles per hour. And with one last unexpected roadblock, my dad slowly ducked through a railroad overpass. As I was following my dad, I really couldn't believe my eyes. The axles were spinning, tires were rotating, and this big silver bullet with a stovepipe reaching up towards the sky and an air conditioner hanging on to dear life was strolling along to its new forever home. And just like that, 2 days of hard work paid off. The Airstream was safe and sound at its new home.
At 35-mile aerodynamics.
I could see it. It was flashing his headlights off.
I think my dad's treated this Airstream as good as it's treated him. Once again, my dad will make himself a home in the 67 Airstream while he readies his new place to live. Needless to say, I'll miss the Airstream up at camp. There were fantastic times had in the middle of those 500 acres, but as the saying goes, all good things must come to an end. And camp as I know it, it's the end of an era.
While I'm living in a big tin can, kinda like in a can of Spam, eating lots of beans and ham. Well, it ain't so bad, no, it ain't so bad. Fixing the tractor like I should, splitting lots of firewood. Not so sure I'd leave if I could. Well, it ain't so bad, no, it ain't so bad. Ain't got no electricity, not like living in the big city. But I ain't got no self-pity, but it ain't so bad, no, it ain't so bad. No running water, hot or cold, hauling water pails gets a little old. This life I'm living is a lot like gold. Well, it ain't so bad, no, it ain't so bad. Plowing snow in the muck, trying my best not to get stuck. But if I do, I'll yell, what the heck did you just do, Dave? But it ain't so bad, no, it ain't so bad. Snow's a-blowing, but I don't care, sitting here in my underwear, feeling kinda laissez-faire. But it ain't so bad, no, it ain't so bad. The outhouse is the finest in the land, like living in a wonderland. And one thing you gotta understand, well, it ain't so bad, no, it ain't so bad. Wood stoves are cranking, I've got a big grin, better than the Holiday Inn. Living in this can of tin, well, it ain't so bad, no, it ain't so bad.